Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we look at 8 potential hidden gem whiskeys you folks at home are probably not looking for. Run the video. Alright then folks, welcome back to the channel, friends and allies alike. Thank you for returning for another installment of the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we are looking at 8 hidden gem whiskeys, budget whiskeys that you might not just be looking for. These are 8 whiskeys. They are all under $50. The vast majority sit between $20 and $30. And these whiskeys that you might just not be looking for. Maybe they might not be on your radar. You just might not want to pull the trigger on them for whatever reason. You just might not have been able to find them. So I want to bring these whiskeys into the bourbon universe or whiskey universe. People might already been talking about some of these, but I think they're all somewhat obscure, apart from maybe 1 or 2. But I think they're all around them quite fantastic, and you might not be looking for them. So with that being said, let's get into bottle number 1. And if there's anything on this list that I've missed, please let me know. And the last bottle on this list is a bottle that we reviewed lately, and we were absolutely blown away by just how good it was. So stick around for that too. First up, we have Evan Williams Single Barrel Vantage. So this is a very difficult bottle to find normally, because it stopped being distributed nationwide. It was only available in Kentucky. Great bottle of whiskey. This is generally around 7 years old or so. 43.3% ABV, so don't expect kind of the big bourbon cast strength kind of notes from this. It is a little bit more subtle, has more wood, and it's just a very approachable and enjoyable whiskey. Comes with a dipped cap on top there as well, and overall quite a cool little bottle, nice styling. And yes, a single barrel product. Some single barrels are different, most single barrels are different, all single barrels are different. However, the consistency is pretty much the same across the board there. Why is this on this list if it's only available in Kentucky? Well, let me hit you with some knowledge. Most recently, Heaven Hill have started pushing this out nationwide again. Maybe they had reeled them back in before because they were running a little bit low on the stock, and maybe that has caught up with them now. So you'll find them here in Colorado once again, so I assume that's probably come into a place near you soon, if not already there. MSRP is around $30, excellent value for money. And just looking at the bottle that I had previously, which was barreled in March of 2014 and then bottled in February of 2022, so like basically 8 years old for $30. Really great addition. Awesome to see it back again from kind of the hiatus that it took from not being available. Definitely pick this one up if you're not looking for it anymore, because you probably think that they've stopped making it. That is Evan Williams Single Barrel Vantage. Next up, and we all know here in the Whiskey Cove, there's a bottle of whiskey called Old Grandad 114 that I love. We could put that bottle on this list. However, I think that the bourbon kind of lovers, or the whiskey-verse that all you folks at home are, you're smart people. You're already clued in with that bottle. It's not quite a hidden gem anymore. Everybody knows how good Old Grandad 114 is for the price. However, because of how good that bottle is, this one often gets overlooked. And that is Old Grandad Bonded. 50% ABV, 100 proof. This is a 1 litre bottle. No, this is a 750 milliliter bottle. They do 1 litre bottles, and that's probably better value for money in that. However, this is a 750 milliliter bottle. It's going to cost you around $20. Bottle and bond, aged at least 4 years by one distiller over one distill in season. 50% ABV, 100 proof. Excellent, excellent addition, and very excited, which is why I'm talking so fast, end quote. So, like I said, this has some of those 114 flavors. Some cinnamon, some of those bacon slices. It's not as much proof. The proof is 114 on that. But what this does really well is it combines the regular edition of Old Grandad, which is the 80 proof at 40% ABV, and the Old Grandad 114 brings the best qualities from each, brings them together. So you get some of those more fruitier notes, kind of nice like candied apple, like a sugar cherry candy, but then you also get some of the spicy notes, some of the barrel characteristics of the 114 there as well. It's really approachable. It works excellently in a cocktail, and then maybe a bottle of whiskey that you're just not looking at right now. And for about $20, $25, I think phenomenal value for money. Definitely keep your eyes out for this one, because you will not be disappointed with the money that you will pay on it. Bottle number 3. This is a bottle that I've sung high praises of here on the Whiskey Cove in the past, but I think it needs a little bit more love again, because maybe we've just stopped talking about it. Maybe the original fanfare has kind of dwindled down a little bit now. However, it has been a staple here at the Whiskey Cove, and we love it. and that is, of course, Jack Daniel's Bonded. So why does this whiskey maybe get overlooked? Well, people who are not familiar with Jack Daniel's whiskey outside of Old Number 7 may associate said other whiskeys with the Old Number 7. However, that could not be further from the truth. This Jack Daniel's Bonded, I think it won second or third on the 2021 Whiskies of the Year, 2022 Whiskies of the Year on the Whiskey Cove. Great addition to that kind of top 5 series, if you like. This is what Jack Daniel's has kind of learned to be here with the bourbon industry. People know the quality of Jack Daniel's. They know that it associates with a specific flavor profile. You get bananas, you get cherry, you get caramel nut bread, and it's kind of like that, but you don't get the proof of like the straight Kentucky or the straight Tennessee whiskey. So this isn't a bourbon. It is, and it isn't a bourbon. It does all the same things that bourbon does to make it a bourbon, but it goes one step further by filtering it through maple charcoal. So why it makes it a bourbon? They file patents every year, Jack Daniel's, for their whiskeys to make it for it to be a bourbon and for it to be a Tennessee whiskey. So they cover all the bases for around $30. Yes, this is a 700 milliliter bottle, so you're losing a bit. Still excellent value for money. And if you already know about this bottle, I'm just bringing it up again. But if you don't already know this bottle, don't sleep on it. Phenomenal whiskey, very approachable as well for 50% ABV or 100 proof. Bottle number 4 on this list, we've gone from Tennessee to California, and that is because we're going to go and delve into the Redwoods. That is Redwood Empire, and this is specifically the Pipe Dream Small Batch. So this is a great bourbon. This is probably my favorite bourbon from Redwood. That includes the Pipe Dream Cask Strength, some of the newer offerings, and even some of their older stuff. I just always seem to gravitate back towards this bottle. It is coming in at 45% ABV or 90 proof. Like I said, from Sonoma County, California. It has all those quintessential bourbon notes. It has the vanillas, it has the spice. And then it also has a lovely, great kind of aged note that runs through it that you can only associate with like a 10-year whiskey. And I'm wondering how they did it. They're sourced from some other states as well, but also some of their own distillate is in there. So it's distilled in California, Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So it's probably Dickel distillate in here. You don't get any Dickel notes here. You just get classic quintessential Kentucky bourbon notes, if I'm completely honest. They blended the heck out of this bottle. If you're sleeping on this bottle, you shouldn't. MSRP is probably going to be high 30s now. I think it used to be around $30 with a price just as everything has probably gone up on this. That is the Redwood Empire Pipe Dream Bourbon. And let's go with the most expensive bottle on this list. So this is a distillery that we are all familiar with, and that is Old Forester. Think about some Old Foresters, you know, off the top of your head. 1910, 1920, barrel strength rye, President's Choice, that one as well, birthday bourbon, Brown Foreman, the King of Kentucky, all that fun stuff. But then we also, sometimes we'll forget, they also have some phenomenal other bourbons. And that is because 1897, bottled in bond. I don't want to say I discovered it this year in my own kind of whiskey journey, if you like. However, it's been a long time since I've tasted 1897, but we've done a lot with the Old Forester lineup this year so far, and wow, I was blown away by just how good this bottle of whiskey is, because we're always fortunate enough to drink the 1920 and the 1910 from the core lineup and think these are great. But let's share a little love for how good this 1897 is. A true hidden gem in plain sight, if you like. It has some almost like apricot-y stone fruit style notes there as well, but then also some sweet vanilla, barrel char, cherry, and those classic Old Forester notes there too. But it's not as sweet as the 1910 or not as sweet as the 1920, which is why I think it's kind of maybe a more middle of the road bourbon that Old Forester puts out, because their palate and the flavor profile that is Old Forester is mainly more cherry, a little bit more yeasty and banana-y. However, this kind of brings it back in a little bit and balances out some of those notes. Like I said, I think this is the most expensive one on this list. I think it's around $55, $50. Kind of depends where you are in the USA. But like I said, this is a true gem hidden in plain sight. That is Old Forester 1897. Up we are going over to Washington State, and that is Doc Swinson's Blender's Cut. So for a lot of what Doc Swinsons do, you'll see all that stuff here. They start with a base whiskey. That base whiskey is made up of two different whiskey blends. It is the 36% rye mash bill and the 21% rye bourbon mash bill. So you lose those two bourbon mash bills, they blended together. And what they did was that they would just finish all that whiskey on different barrel projects before they even brought out the base whiskey on its own. And I'll read the bottle here because they'll make a little bit more sense than what I'm explaining now. After numerous releases of our triple cask alter ego bourbon, Jesse Parker, master blender and distiller at Doc Swenson's, started to notice a late night trend as we sampled this base bourbon. After witnessing copious nights in the warehouse with glasses that refused to be set down, it became apparent that the blender's cut needs to be shared. Thanks to Jesse, this delicious mixture of 36 and 21% rye bourbons lingers on the palate and brings waves of vanilla, brown sugar, apricots, peanuts, brown butter, and is available for you now. So they weren't even thinking about bringing this whiskey out on its own. It's only just because as they were tasting it so much, getting used to it to get ready for finishes, that they realized what they had on their hands here. This is going to be sitting right around that $50 mark, maybe a little bit less than that. Age on this, I wasn't able to find the necessary age, but I think it was between like 5 and 7 years. So at least 5 years old from what I was able to find. 57.5% ABV or 115 proof, so it's definitely getting up there. You're getting almost like a barrel strength, well not technically barrel strength because it didn't come out of the barrel, but more of like a barrel proof cask strength version, if you like, you know what I'm saying here. Or full proof, I guess, is probably where that sits. Great value for money, a great addition. All this stuff, or most of this stuff, is sourced from like Indiana. This one is specifically sourced from Indiana, but also sourced from Kentucky, Tennessee, and some other few places there as well. Don't sleep on this one. This is a true hidden gem. 2 bottles left, and maybe another bottle that's a gem hidden in plain sight, and that is going to be 1792. So there's a lot of good 1792 bottles out there. This definitely adds to that lineup. You have 1792 Bottled and Bond, which has won copious awards for being just so good. The 1792 Small Batch is a phenomenal whiskey, and then you also get the aged 12 years, which is great. The Sweet Witch is kind of all right, and then the Full Proof, which I'm not completely sold on. But we always miss out the single barrel, I feel like. These are quite findable, and you can also have some single barrel picks of these too. I wouldn't say I've had a great deal of these. I've probably tried 3 different versions of different single barrels. They've all been very, very good. You're looking to pay $30 to $35, which is pretty great value for money, and that nose. It is Barton, it is woody, it is fruity, it is cherry. That's what Barton's all about. It's not too proofy. It's nothing offensive on the nose. It is coming in at 49.3% ABV, so close to Bottled and Bond, which is actually quite high ABV compared to the small batch, which is, I believe, what is that, 46.85%, so a little bit higher than that, but it carries a little bit more weight there as well. Those flavors are ramped up just a little bit, so definitely do not sleep on this bottle that is hidden in plain sight for you folks at home. I know that you might not be able to find this in some states, but I think that's changing. I think the bourbon landscape is changing. That's a conversation for another time. You'll be seeing this a lot more if you haven't already lately. That is the 1792 single barrel. And then lastly, and to be honest, probably the inspiration for this video, and this is a bottle that's kind of taken off here in the last few weeks, maybe month or so, since Jim Beam kind of re-released this bottle, and that is of course Jim Beam Black 7 Year. We did a review on this. We were kind of blown away by this bottle of whiskey. I wasn't expecting something this good to come from the Jim Beam regular lineup. I mean, anything that says kind of like Jim Beam on it. So the Jim Beam regular black was non-age stated, but they reintroduced this as Jim Beam Black, aged 7 years, and it's put Jim Beam back on the map a little bit. Even though we had Old Grandad from Jim Beam, I'm just mainly strictly talking about the Jim Beam label here, because there was really nothing that I liked from the Jim Beam label. It has a great amount of wood note. It does have a little bit of like a toffee note there as well. A little fruit in the back end, maybe some like nice fresh cut apple slices. But really blown away with the complexity there. There is a little bit of a peanut brittle note there as well. But it's more of like a sweet, well-rounded note. ABV on this is 45% ABV. I think it used to be less than that, so I think they amped up the ABV on this a little bit more. I paid like $15 for this, but people are saying that they're finding it for $20. You might be expecting to pay up to $30. Try to stick to 20 to 25 if you can help it. As a budget bourbon and as a Jim Beam bottle, you should be able to find this just about everywhere. 7 years of old. that ABV strength, that 45% ABV, 90 proof strength for $20. You can't argue. Don't pay more than $20 for it. I'm sorry, don't pay more than $25 for it. If you can find it for 15, great. If you find it for 20, great. Pay $25 for it for one time, but I don't jump onto the hype just yet and pay $30. That price will sit and settle down about 20 to 25. So these were 8 kind of bourbon gems. Some are actually hidden in plain sight, and some that you might not be on your radar or not quite thinking about so far. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. I like to bring you these videos. You guys like to interact with me on these videos. So if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. I appreciate every single one of you. Like the video and comment down below if there's any whiskeys that I've missed. I tried not to go too obvious with a lot of these bottles. I could have included some obvious ones. However, I think these are basically some true hidden gems. As we drink through the world's whiskies, one glass at a time. Thanks for watching. Cheers.